Hi guys. We're gonna talk about the rest of Greece today. Greece part 2, and it's pretty much just all the rest of the Greece that we saw. We didn't stay in any more towns. We actually went camping, but we saw some things on the way because we went at a few campsites. We went to a few campsites in the northern part, and just a little tidbit that I found out while I was planning. There are lots of campsites in Greece, and I don't know if it's just Greek people in general that like to camp or Europeans in general, but there were tons of campsites in Greece, and they had a really good website, like a good network to find a campsite too. It was really awesome, or else I would not have known where to start. If you remember, we had picked up a car, and we left the next morning after picking up the car. We left pretty early because we just wanted to get going. We had a few different options for sightseeing. One was we could have gone to Delphi, which is like slightly inland, and then driven north. But we decided just to straight drive north on the main freeway. There were no toll booths in Greece. Oh, it made me so happy. And that was a good thing because we were trying to save money and because we had a nice car in Italy. Like, it was a pretty nice car. And then the toll booth thing sucked, so, kind of was good that we had a nice car. And in Greece, no toll booths, but the car was crap. It was like a Seat Cordoba. It was a crap car. I hated that car so bad. It was probably the worst car we had the whole time. But anyway, it worked. It did the job. So we drove north, and we stopped for lunch in some tiny little town, lunch and a bathroom break, and the lunch was bad. Like, we just went to a store and got like lunch meat and made sandwiches, and it was just awful. We were so spoiled with George's place that it was really hard to just eat a like crappy chicken sandwich or crappy lunch meat turkey sandwich after that. But we made do, and we just kept driving, and I swear it felt like we had to fill up this car like every hour. I don't know. We were trying to keep the gas tank full because we had to drop it off with a full tank of gas. We had to prepay for gas, and we had to drop it off with a full tank of gas. So that was really bizarre. And so I was all paranoid about, we got to keep the gas tank full. It was really a weird situation. It was kind of stressful. So we ended up stopping in this little town called Larissa and finally found souvlaki and a pita. No more yucky lunch meat sandwiches. And stuffed our faces, and then kept driving to Meteora. Now, Meteora is a town where there's these beautiful, like, the town is down below, and there's these beautiful painted-looking cliffs, and there are monasteries on top of the cliffs. And you've probably, if you've ever looked at just, like, random sightseeing pictures of Greece, like in a coffee table book or something, you've probably seen a picture of at least one of these monasteries where it's, like, a really, like, pillar-like cliff with a monastery on top. It looks like that the monastery was carved out of the cliff almost. And there's not just the one, there's actually a few of them. But they're amazing, and we totally went there. We went to the one that looks like it's balanced right on top of a little pillar. And it was super awesome. Luckily, this was pure dumb luck because I just didn't know this, but Thursdays, which we were there on Thursday is the only day you can actually go inside the monastery. It's like the prayer day or something. So that was the dumb luck portion of the sightseeing. I think I mentioned it in the sightseeing video where there was one place we just happened to be able to go, and that was it. That was Meteora. And I was prepared, actually. Dodger and I had to wear skirts, and we had to wear like short sleeve shirts. You couldn't wear tank tops. So we had prepared and pulled out like each a skirt and a t-shirt to put over our stuff. We just like pulled the skirt on over our shorts and pulled the t-shirt on over our tank tops because it was just for being inside the monastery. And the boys actually had to put on t-shirts too, like they couldn't have bare shoulders. So we already knew that, so we were prepared. So we set off. We parked, and we set off to go wind our way up the cliff. And it was really a beautiful hike. Like, it was quite a hike, and it was really hot and dry, like super dry, arid landscape. But it was so worth it, as you'll see in the pictures. The cliffs seriously looked fake. It looked like someone painted them, like for real, like it was an oil painting. It was fantastic. And we had to hike down this really like long switchback, kind of just a road, a path. And then once you get to the base of the cliff, there's this staircase that like kind of winds up the cliff. And in one of the pictures, I'll look really, really closely. Like, I'll try to put a picture on there where there's like a picture of the monastery kind of from far away, and look really closely, and you can see like the staircase cut out of the side of the cliff. It's nuts. And so we hiked forever. We're like, hike, hike, hike. So we get to the top, and we go inside, and it was so crazy. It was a little bit scary. If you're afraid of heights, probably don't go, because this particular monastery almost takes up, it doesn't take up the entire top of the little pillar of the cliff, but probably a good 2/3 of it. And it's like right there. It's like perched on the side of the cliff. There's actually a spot inside the monastery where if you go inside, it's where they have a little cable car, so how they get groceries. They don't have to carry groceries and stuff up the stairs. They actually put it in this little cable car that goes straight from this one cliff to the other cliff. And so they have this opening that comes up through the floor, and if you actually open that little trap door or whatever, it's just nothing, like the side of the cliff. Like you could jump to your death through that. So it's a little bit freaky to know that part of the floor, when you're walking on it, you're like, there's nothing underneath me. What if it looks really old? It could just crumble and I'll be dead. But it was still a cool place. It was super awesome. We got some really cool pictures. It was very serene. I mean, it's a monastery, so it wasn't going to be like a chaotic place, but it was just a really, really pleasant sightseeing experience. There wasn't a whole lot of things to see other than you're just observing how the monks live, and just this fantastic monastery on top of a cliff. So very rustic. So anyway, we get back down the cliff. We're done with Meteora, and now it was time for our first night of camping. We did 2 nights of camping at 2 different places, and really we didn't have a tent because it would have been silly just to bring a tent on a 2-month trip when you're only going to use it like 2 nights. That's a lot to carry. And so my brilliant plan was to sleep in the car. And this was another one of those things that it looks good on paper, because you're like, when I'm like a one-track mind, like, oh, we're saving money, we're saving time, I'll just sleep in the car, we don't have to carry a tent. Yeah, it was not good. We did not get a lot of sleep for a couple nights, and you'll notice that in the pictures too. We look a little bleary-eyed and puffy-faced, and we were in the sun a lot too, but still, it was a little bit rough. The camp places were actually really cool, and you can rent bungalows, like little camp trailers and stuff, if you don't have a tent, but they were all booked up. That's why we didn't get one, and I was being cheap too. So we made it to our first campsite, and it was called Castle Camping, because there was a big castle up on the cliff that was lit up at night. It was gorgeous. It was so pretty. Not like, a fairy tale looking castle. It was just a castle, just a random castle. And this beach that we went to at Castle Camping, it was like a pebble beach. It wasn't a sandy beach, but it was covered with like these beautifully colored rocks. And so we spent, like all 4 of us spent like at least an hour or so with our heads just down, because we were like hunting for rocks. It was like little kids. It was so much fun though. And so we each had like this little bag full of rocks. We're like, why do we have rocks? Later on in the trip, we were like, why are we carrying all these rocks? Like, they were really cool looking, but I think I saved a few of them. I was like, no, I don't need all these rocks. We're carrying rocks. So we did not sleep well that night, as I've already mentioned, because it was a 4-door car, but 4 people in a 4-door car doesn't really fit. And Dodger's pretty small, but this was this was not working. We were like up and down, and it would get hot in the car, but then it was too cold outside because we tried to sleep on the beach, which would have been comfortable, but the wind was just blowing. And it gets cold. Like, it's, for how hot it is during the day, it was really cold on the beach at night. And we had not like gorged ourselves on this fantastic dinner to make us all sleepy either. I found the wafers. I found chocolate wafers. Remember, I had them in Athens and could not find them again. There was a store at this Castle Camping, and we went there to see what we could scrounge up for dinner. And we bought a little bottle of ouzo, because we were like, oh, we need some ouzo. We're in Greece. And it was like €2, and I found the wafers. And like when you get a candy bar from the store, it's like in the box, and you grab one out of the box. I bought the whole box. There was like 14 of them in there, because I didn't know when I was going to find them again. So I walked up to the register and just plunked the box down. They were like, okay, you're a pig, you're buying all the candy bars, but they were so yummy. And so I think we had bananas and chocolate wafers and ouzo for dinner. Another super healthy dinner like we had in Italy. Remember, we had rice cream and whatever, just rice cream. I don't even know if we had anything else with that. So another super healthy dessert dinner. But we couldn't help it. There really wasn't much to choose from. So Didn't sleep great, but the next day we were going to another campsite, and it was supposed to be more like regular beach, like sandy beach. So we took off, and we were kind of grumpy. You know, when you don't sleep, when you're like up and down, you sleep for an hour and not for an hour, you know, you're a little bit grumpy, and it was really hard to navigate. We had to drive through Thessaloniki, which we were going to be going back there to catch a plane to Budapest, but we were driving through Thessaloniki and had to make a pit stop there for an ATM. And it was just a really confusing thing on no sleep to go to this. It was a really industrial city, or at least the part we were in was really industrial, and we were just like, boo. So we got out of Thessaloniki, and the next place we were staying was called Armistices Camping. And it was on one of the little peninsulas. If you look at a map of Greece, there are 3 little, I call them like the little finger peninsulas. They look like little fingers at the top, like the northeast, and we were on the middle finger. I think we were on the middle peninsula. Like the third one, the furthest one east, is like only for monasteries, and women aren't even allowed on that peninsula. And you can see that peninsula from the one we were on. It was kind of trippy. But we found Armistices, and that peninsula, I mean, lots of Greece is absolutely gorgeous, but we drove almost all the way around the peninsula because the road only goes like, you know, we had to like drive all the way around the tip and up the side because ours was on the opposite side, and that's the only way you could get there. So we saw like a lot of the coastline, and oh, it was so pretty. It was that aquamarine, gorgeous water. Oh, it was so pretty. And we were passing all these like little like vacation homes where I was like daydreaming, if I win the lottery, I'm gonna buy one of these, because it was so pretty. It was so beautiful, and we were getting super excited. We were getting a little bit anxious because we wanted to play on the beach. We were hot, we were tired, and we were just like, we just want to get there, and we couldn't find it, and we finally get there. And little strange like coincidence, I don't know what you call it, but just small world. The guy at the front ticket booth desk area had been to Oregon, and not just Oregon, but like Eastern Oregon, which people don't usually go to Eastern Oregon, and I have family in Eastern Oregon, and so it was just really random that he's been to like one of the small towns in Eastern Oregon, and he's been to Portland, of course, but he knew how far we were from home was basically the point of it, and so he was impressed that we were all the way over there, but we were impressed that he had been all the way where we were from. So anyway, just really small world, random. So anyway, we find our campsite, and we immediately were like, time to play on the beach. And we had such a fun day playing on the beach, even though we were super tired. It was so pretty. It was awesome. The sand was perfect. It was kind of coarse, so you could just like brush it off your skin. And so we'd go and play in the water, and then we'd get out, lay on the sand, and dry off. And then we'd go play in the water, and then we'd lay on the sand and dry off. And this campsite was super groovy. It had like a couple of stores. It had a couple of restaurants. It had like little place where you can get a deli sandwich made. It had a bar on the beach. It had nice bathrooms. It was just, it was so cool. And there were all these things you could rent, which we didn't, but you could rent like snorkeling gear or, you know, little paddle boats or something. It was just really sweet. I totally would go back there and actually like rent a little camper trailer or a bungalow or something and have money to pay for all the beach toys. But it was just a really awesome beach because it was kind of private. It was like on like a little cove, so only people that were at that campsite could go there. It was just fantastic, and I'm really glad, like, even though we didn't sleep very well either of the 2 nights, it was so worth it to get to play on the beach because it was just so much fun. So if you get a chance to go to Greece, you have to play on the beach. You have to. Like, why would you not go play in the Aegean Sea? It's gorgeous. That second night, not good sleep, a little bit better than the night before because we decided we're going to just start sleeping on the beach instead of try to start in the car. And it didn't work any better, but the bar that was on the beach, they had a DJ there, and it was spinning some killer like house type music, which I love. All of us loved it, but especially Dodger and I, because we, you know, the dance background, we were just like, oh, this is amazing, but it's time to sleep. So it kind of, you know, was lulling us to sleep, this crazy house music. But we ended up just not getting good sleep. I think we all chickened out and went back in the car because we were just freezing. But the next morning we got some really beautiful pictures. You will see them all. And we were sad to leave. Like, we were really sad to leave Greece. We were excited for the rest of our trip, but Greece so far at that point in the trip, I think, had been like our favorite, or some of our favorite things that we had done so far, because I think that's, aside from Barcelona, that's the first place we got to just chill out, like for a couple of days. We didn't have anything specific to see. You know, Meteora was just a really chill thing to see anyway. It was just way cool. And that was when I started to learn, like, oh, it's good to have, you know, busy sightseeing time, but also chill time. So it was super fun. Greece, I heart Greece. It was so great. And after that, we, you know, super groggy morning number 2, we drove back to Thessaloniki because we had to catch a plane because we were going to Budapest next, which was also amazing. Our whole trip was amazing, but it just seemed like we had certain stretches where it was just like, super cool place, another super cool place. It was fantastic. So anyway, but Greece was great. Go to Greece, even though it's really far away for a lot of people in the U.S. anyway. But just go. It's so great. And camp. Go camping and play on the beach. And eat chocolate wafers and souvlaki and a pita and maybe a little bit of ouzo. It's kind of strong. I'm kind of a wuss when it comes to that, but it tastes good. So anyway, yeah, I guess I'll talk to you guys next time. And the next travel portion will be about Budapest. So hope you are excited for that, because I am. It was so fun. Okay.